part of a family that are friends. And 40 years ago, my husband was a missionary here in California, and he served here, and while he was here, he got to know the Peck family and grew to love them. As a missionary, they are asked to present different presentations to investigators, and they were asked to memorize these discussions, which they don't do now, but they were asked to memorize. And for my husband, it's really, really hard to memorize. He just has a hard time doing that. Well, one of the discussions was about the restoration of the church, and he asked Heavenly Father would please help him memorize this discussion. He says, if you will help me, Heavenly Father, I promise that I will use this to help share the gospel. And he worked really, really hard on it, and he memorized the discussion. The others he has forgotten, but the message of the restoration was really, really important to him, and he just loved it, and he's always retained that in his memory. So he has put together this little presentation for you all, and we have 2 songs in the presentation. We made up the copy so you can read along with the words. And there's one song, and then there's another song on the back. Again, we appreciate being here with you.
Have a seat, guys.
Levi, see if you can recruit some of them.
Come here, Kizzy. Come here. You sit next to Noah. Sit next to Noah. Laker. Thank you.
Can you help Noah?
Is everybody there going to have a copy?
Tell him you what.
It won't be for a while, okay?
Try Ryan to get his keister back here.
No, you don't need to sing.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I know what you're thinking, that Joseph Smith would look a lot younger. I just want you to know my birthday is coming up in December on the 23rd, and I would be 211 years old. So I think I look pretty good for my age. It's good to be with you, brothers and sisters and friends. Thank you for being here. This was something that I wanted to do for the Peck family. I pray that the Spirit of the Lord will be with us, that you will be able to feel it, and you will understand the message. We, throughout the history of man, our God has revealed His truth through His servants, the prophets. Jesus Christ, when He was here upon the earth, established His church. But then He was killed, and His apostles were also taken from the earth. And many of the plain and precious truths that were on the earth were lost. It was a falling away and an apostasy that occurred that left believers seeking for truth and not being able to find it. My story begins by telling you that I was born of goodly parents, like Nephi. My father and mother both believed strongly in God, loved God, and they turned to the Bible for their source of strength. My mother was the one who encouraged us to read the Bible, to seek to find answers to our questions. I don't know what I would have done if I had not had my parents and my family at this time. The Lord was preparing them to receive that which would be given to me. My father and my mother both had special spiritual experiences before the first vision, and I would like to tell you about them. My mother, Lucy Mack Smith, in 1802 became very sick. The doctors diagnosed her condition as tuberculosis, the same illness that had taken her two older sisters, Lavisa and Lavina, and they passed from that took their lives. When the doctors told her that she would not live, she pled with the Lord and said, "If you will spare my life, I will do all I can to bless my children, to give comfort to them and to my husband." She said, "I solemnly covenanted with God that if He would allow me to live, I would endeavor to do all that was in my power to serve Him." Not long after that, she heard a small voice that said to her, "Seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened to you." Let your heart be comforted. Do you believe in God? Believe also in me. As soon as she could, she went out and endeavored to find someone who could teach her and instruct her more fully in the ways of life and salvation. She went from place to place, seeking out information and hoping to find someone or to acquire a congenial spirit that would help her in her time of searching for the truth. After a while, she said, "I said in my heart that there was not upon the earth the religion that I sought, and that my determination was to call upon God and to use the Bible as my source of truth. Following this, I felt it was my obligation to be baptized and to find a minister who would allow me to baptize me and allow me to remain free of joining any religious group. I did so. I stepped forward and I fulfilled that ordinance and was baptized. My father, Joseph Smith Sr., though less inclined to teach his family, was a spiritual man. Like his father, Asel Smith, he was suspicious of traditional religions, but he retained a strong belief in God. During this time of agitation and concern, he had the first of a series of dreams. The first dream, he found himself traveling through a barren field of dead timber. And he had a spirit who was with him, who told him that the field represented the world without religion. He told him that if he would find a box of food, and if he was to partake of the food, it would make him wise. He attempted to take from the food and to eat it, but was forbidden by an evil spirit. He awoke, told his wife, frustrated or shaken up, but he was also relieved because he had learned that at that time for himself that the true church or the true gospel was not upon the earth. Those that were religious knew nothing about the kingdom of God. The second dream was a profound dream. It was about his family. It was much like the dream of the tree of life that Lehi had. He found himself walking on a path to a beautiful fruit tree, and there he partook of the delicious fruit. And then he realized that he needed to bring his family, his wife and his family, and join him and partake of the fruit, of which he did. And he described in his dream the wonderful joy and happiness that he felt